What's up, YouTube? This is Glenn. I am back. Been gone for a little while, but I'm back. Getting over my mother's death, trying to get myself together, and when you know it, I had her last remaining sister just died yesterday. So that's part of life. It's a bad part of life, but it happens. So as long as I'm here, I'm going to keep chugging along. Well, this particular video is going to be addressed to Jehovah's Witnesses, PMOs, and then people that were like me, that were raised Jehovah's Witnesses and that are gone. And I'm going to cover about 2 or 3 things, and I'm going to try to be as fast as possible because I hate a long and drawn out video. Okay? So, my question is, how many of y'all have, how can I say it? Being raised a Jehovah's Witness, has it affected your relationships when you deal with the opposite sex? Or it could be the same sex, I don't know. Whatever your preference is. But how has it affected your relationship? When I ask you that question, because we learn how to cut people off, as far as if a family member gets this fellowship, or our wife or our husband or best friend or whatever gets this fellowship, we taught how to just cut them off. But we also learned that as we are like young kids and teenagers. So we learn that behavior of if a person doesn't do right, we can cut them off and we never have to worry about it. You treat them as if they were dead. It took me, I left the truth. Let me strike that. I left the organization or the book club when I was like 29 or 30. I'm 56 now. But in the last 5 or 6 years, I've grown to understand that how I was raised affected my relationships with the opposite sex. I would have an argument, disagreement, whatever. I could cut them off, delete the number, erase the call history. Bam. Out of sight, out of mind. I can't see you. Can't hear from you, you're dead. That's not the way to be. Because a lot of times, relationships, you're going to have disagreements. And you just can't cut people off. You just can't, discard them like trash. And that's kind of how it's a learned behavior in the Jehovah's Witness faith. And I'm wondering, people that are still Jehovah's Witnesses, people that might be a PMO, or people that no longer are Jehovah's Witnesses, I would like your comment on that. I'm not trying to get people that are still witnesses, I'm not trying to get you to leave. I'm not. I worry about my daughter. She's being raised a Jehovah's Witness. And I'm worried about it affecting her. I really am. Because it affected me. And so, if you have kids, or if you have family members, reach out to them. Because I'm sure depression runs amok within the organization. I'm going to do some research and try to find out on how the suicide rate is amongst former Jehovah's Witnesses or current Jehovah's Witnesses. Because it's such, like I said, it's such a cold-hearted thing to cut someone off and to treat them as if they were dead. It's just hard to imagine. My thing is, if you talk to a Jehovah's Witness and they say, hey, this fellowship is part of God showing love, I don't see that. I don't see it. If that was the case, why did Jehovah allow Satan the devil to have access to heaven for thousands of years? After he got Adam and Eve to sin, he still could go back to heaven. Now, if anybody should have been kicked out of an organization, it should have been Satan the devil. Jehovah had took the time to make humans to serve him. And this particular person, spiritual creature, comes and messes that up. But still, Jehovah allows him back and forth access to heaven. He tried to get Job to sin. To go against Jehovah. He even tried to get Jesus Christ to do the same thing. And Jesus Christ talked to him. Because he took Jesus Christ to an unusually high mountain. If you're stating that the Jehovah's Witness faith follows the example of Jesus Christ and Jehovah, then two or three greatest examples in the Bible of someone trying to get someone to change their faith, he didn't disfellowship him. He didn't put any restrictions on Satan. Satan still had access. The only reason why he put a restriction on Satan is because he tried to start a war. Nobody is trying to, the apostates that I hear, most of them that I hear or I see, they're not trying to start a war. They're just asking a question. Why aren't you giving up the records on the pedophiles? Why were you part of the UN? Why did you have this disrespectful attitude, or not attitude, this disrespectful way of thinking about how black people were in the earlier part of your organization, how you thought we were less than whites, but you never apologized. You never said why you were in the UN. You never said this doctrine of disfellowshipping. At one time you didn't agree with it. You don't give any reasons. You act like this pedophile stuff doesn't happen. You try to address it by telling your members that if you hear anything negative, don't look at it. What? I'm sorry, but what kind of shit is that? You go to Amazon. You go to buy a car. You're going to check what you're buying. If you're trying to get into a religion, you're going to check how the religion is. Now, if you go back and try to look at publications that the witnesses have written, let's take this for example, what they felt about black people. If you go back into the 20s, 30s, and look at what they used to say, don't go to the bound volume because they have whitewashed it. You got to find the original print. And if you see the original print, you'll be shocked. For African-American brothers, Hispanic brothers, people non-whites that are in the faith, look at the track history of the Jehovah Witnesses towards the Nazis. The Nazis. My point is, we know people make mistakes, but the Jehovah Witnesses don't go back and say they're sorry. For all these brothers, back in the 70s, it was the 70s, I believe, when we used to write these letters of the brothers in Malawi, they were being persecuted because they didn't do any type of military service. Now they have changed the rules on that. They never said sorry. Never. So with the pedophile cases, I'm sure there are a lot of people that have been depressed. I'm sure there are a lot of people that have committed suicide. All you have to do is say, we made a mistake and we're sorry. Most people are for forgiveness. But you want me, if I want to become a Jehovah's Witness again, I got to break down and kiss your ring to come back. But you will not apologize to the ones that you have hurt. That doesn't make any sense. No. And I hope one of the guys in the book club see this video. I'm not an apostate. I'm not telling anybody not to worship Jehovah God, not to honor his son, Jesus Christ. I'm not telling nobody to do that. But these crackpot laws that you have that are basically just like the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And think about something, people out there, and witnesses especially. Jesus Christ was an apostate. Now, when I say that, before you run away, the religion at that time was Judaism. What Jesus Christ was preaching was different from Judaism. Think about that. That's why every time Jesus Christ spoke, they wanted to kill him. Now, I'm not saying the society, the book club want to kill us. They might. But they are so petrified if you listen to what we say, because we make sense. So, my point is, I'm not telling anybody not to serve God. Now, if you want to be an atheist, agnostic, whatever you want to do, that's your choice. I still serve Jehovah. I still pray every day. But I'm not following this book club. That's the only thing I'm not doing. They constantly keep harping on the days. We're at the end, we're at the end, we're at the end. We could be. But why can't they just say what Jesus Christ said? For not even the Son of Man knows when the end is going to come. That's all you got to say. We're living in the time of the end. Leave it at that. But you keep putting a timeline or pigeon-toeing yourself into this allotment of time. And you keep having to change your documents. Change your documents. Because the time that you have allotted, it runs out. Think about it. That's all I'm saying, everybody. And like I said, if you are a witness now, if you're a PMO, or you're a subscriber to my page, please, I would love to interact with you to see how you feel about what I was talking about. And if it has affected your personal life, being raised a Jehovah's Witness, please let me know how. And let's interchange some thoughts. We might can help each other. Okay? Take care, and I'll be back soon. And go, Pack, go.